Hello guys, Sirgrandolot here, and there is a first time for everything, and our first time this season is a little bit of drama regarding Arabella and how she performs, because on social media like Reddit, Twitter, you can find quite a few people complaining that Arabella is not as strong as Hypermax when she was released. I think there is some truth to that, but it also kind of depends. Now, before we go into that, I would like to point out that one of my dreams in life is to develop an app that scans all the social media posts of a user when they make that kind of statement. And if someone complains about a character not being strong enough, I want that app to check if in the past that same user complained about power creep. And if so, I would like to have a database on something like subhuman.io where that person will be forever exposed as a subhuman. But you know, that is my personal dream because I like consistency in what people do. But let's move on to Arabella and what her positives and questionables are. Overall, her positive is that she's essentially a Yuki Hypermax. What I mean by that is that if you want to clear some AoE content on autoplay without having to worry about anything, Yuki is phenomenal because all her cards cycle into themselves because she has ways to draw her own cards, and everything she does is AoE, AoE, AoE. Nothing matters. You don't need to worry about what the autoplay will target, what the autoplay. No, it's just AoE. You throw it out and stuff explodes. Arabella, from that point of view, is fairly similar to Yuki because nearly everything she does is AoE. She has a few ways to draw her own cards. The damage she does feels like 10 times what Yuki does, so you know, that's clearly a positive. But the problem for me is that the power level spike that we got to when Arabella was released is not the same that we got to when someone like Ademari was released. Like, Arabella comes right after Hilde, who is right here, and Hilde's power level is already very high, and Arabella released, to me she feels stronger than Hilde, but it's like this. It's like, we keep going up, okay. That is good, but the issue is that, for example, when Hidemari was released, we had Diana, her power level was here, and then we had Hidemari, and pew! She was excessively strong compared to Diana and most of the combatants before her. And I would agree Tenebrae as well, but that's because I like Sorti a lot. Now, the issues for Arabella come in two forms. One is the fact that she's mostly an AoE damage dealer, and one is the fact that building her is very difficult. Now, let's ignore Sorti for a moment. If you want to build a constructed deck, of course, you want to remove the 3 basic cards, so we're not going to consider them. Scream for me is her first setup card. What I mean by that is that until you can reliably apply Fracture, Arabella does nothing, because all that she does is apply Fracture, which is a DOT effect, a damage over time effect that triggers at the end of a turn, and what you want to do with Arabella is apply it and trigger it. On this card, Scream for me, she has 2 epiphanies that I like over everything else, and they are these 2. The first one deals applies a very decent amount of Fracture all around because it's 3 to all enemies and 6 on the enemy with the highest HP. The difficult fights in general are not those where we fight against a bunch of Garbo. It's when there is a bunch of Garbo and a boss. The fact that she starts stacking so many fractures on the boss right away is very nice. At the same time, Epiphany number 4, draw 2 cards of this unit, is very good because all of Arabella's cards, with the exception of one, are attack cards, meaning that you do not really generate action points. You can get a discount on them, but you are action point negative, and she doesn't have skill cards that allow you to draw like Hilde, so you are stuck with what you draw on Arabella. So mitigating that a little bit by drawing 2 cards of this unit is actually very nice. Like, on a spreadsheet you give up a bit of damage, oh no, but you get to draw your cards, which is nice. Then we go to Observer's Pleasure, which is a card for which we will need to talk a bit later also in regard to her Manifest Egos. I do not like any of these four epiphanies for this card. They're better in theory because they have cool effects like increase the damage, apply fracture and vulnerable, and all that sort of good stuff. The problem is that they clog the deck, and one of them even costs 1 action point. She already has issues drawing, so what you would like to do is get a Divine Epiphany draw on one of these skills, but if you pick the unique opener card, first of all, you are guaranteed to get it in your starting... well, not really in your starting hand, like, it's played before the fight even starts, so you have the Fracture Amplification effect automatically available right off the bat. And at the start of the turn, you also apply Fracture to the enemy with the highest HP, which, again, is the one that you care about the most, not the Garbo. This is good in every situation, it fixes a lot of their issues, because Fracture Amplification is a status that you apply to the enemy. Don't worry about the fact that it is written here, it's just that some of their cards become much better if you have Fracture Amplification applied to the enemy. If you don't, those cards are a bit trash. And this is very annoying if you do not have Observer's Pleasure in your starting hand. So having it active immediately when the fight starts is amazing, so I would always pick the upgrade without a Divine Epiphany. The reason for that is that Hollow Verdict, in my experience, is by far her most important card. In particular these two first Epiphanies, of which you want a total of 4 copies. There is this one which is also nice, but it's a little bit more situational. Now, what the first 2 Epiphanies do is they trigger all the fractures on the enemies, as well as applying some. Epiphany 1 is a unique and it applies the fracture applied by anyone in the team, all allies, so Arabella's, but also Hilde, if you have the Hilde build with the arrows that apply fracture, or with the card draw that generates fracture, you know. It triggers everyone's epiphanies, everyone's fracture, so you should pick this one. It's a unique, so do not start a chaos run with this one, because you cannot copy. What you want to start in a chaos run is with this one, the second one, which allows Arabella to trigger her own epiphanies. This one, number 4, that's a little bit too big. This one, number 4, it removes the fracture and it applies twice as much fracture. It's nice, I'm sure there are some breakpoints for it that are great, but it doesn't trigger it. And for me that is a bit cope. So I would prefer to stick to these 2. The issue is that you want this card to cost 0, and it's an attack card. If you're not familiar with deck editing, attack cards can have a gorillion different epiphanies, and you want to hit specifically reduce the cost. But before hitting the reduced cost, if you do so in editing using sorting materials, you are going to get increase the damage, increase tenacity damage, apply vulnerability, apply egg. You're going to hit a bunch of nonsense before you hopefully hit a reduced card cost. And you have to do it 4 times. So the easiest, and I'm doing bigger quotes here, would be to actually get the reduced cost during a run, but it's extremely difficult. And I got it done once, and the rest of the build is a little bit questionable, I will show you later. But you really want Hollow Verdict to cost 0, and it's the most important card that Arabella has. Then we go to Sadistic Restraint, which is not an amazing card, but it's really nice to have it as a one-off. In particular, this Epiphany, the second one. The reason why this one is very good is that it deals damage, it activates fractures inflicted by this unit twice, so all the fracture that you applied with Arabella during the turn is triggered twice, and you also get to draw a card. So a lot of value. It's a shame that this card, Epiphany 3, was nerfed, because it was not on defeat, move this card back, it was different. And it's going to be good specifically in this rift because you can bring it back to your hand, but I refuse to build decks specifically for the rift. I like decks that are good in all situations, in all game modes. And then we go to the last card, the one with the animation that doesn't have epiphanies. It's a big bonk. It's a very, very big bonk. And it's not a card that changes anything mechanically for Arabella, but it's a card that deals a ton of damage for just one action point cost. It has a cool animation. I like to keep it in the deck because I do not have issues playing it in teams with Hilde and Narya. But it's a card that can be removed if you really want to be a meta slave, I guess, but I would personally keep it. And as you may have noticed, all her cards, with the exception of Server Pleasure, are attack cards. So it doesn't matter what kind of build you want to go for, like 4 copies of Hollow Verdict or 3 copies of Hollow Verdict and more epiphanies around your deck. Building her is going to be very difficult because hitting specifically those reduced costs is going to be a nightmare. A small note, specifically for Sortie, while the shield generating card where, with the Step on Me reference is to be removed, I wouldn't rush to remove these two, the diagonal slash cards, because once you unlock the potential node at the very beginning of her node tree, they apply fracture. So when you're doing a sortie run, you're going to deal a bit of damage to all enemies, 88% is nothing really, but you apply fracture, and it's pretty nice, because more often than not, stuff will blow up at the end of a turn. So there are cards that you eventually want to remove because everything else in Arabella's kit is better, but it's not a dog shit card or a counterproductive card like, for example, Hilde's attacks. Hilde's basic attack are actually bad because when you play your cards, draw your own attacks. You don't want to draw the trash, you want to draw your arrows that cycle and you draw more cards and you're happy with your life. Arabella's basic attack are not good, but specifically in sortie mode they are at the very least usable. So the issues with her cards for me are that one of her most important mechanics is locked behind a card that you need to find in sortie, and that for constructed mode where you need to use your save data, you either use a better version of a Server Pleasure hoping that you can draw it early, or you are stuck to use the upgrade version with opener, or you go in ego manifestations. We'll talk about egos in a moment. Partner Licinia is a must-have. I have said so far, up until now, that the most must-have partner in the game is the one for Tifera. Tifera's partner, Tiana, is absolutely bonkers. Everything that she does is amazing, and her manifest ego, her ego skill is also phenomenal. So every time that someone said, "Oh, I have a voucher to get a partner," it should be Tiana. Especially if you have Tifera, but also if you do not have Tifera, she's very, very good. Now we have a partner that is absolutely bonkers. Like, everything that she does is phenomenal, and although she's better for Arabella than anyone else, she can be used by anyone. What she does is, she increases attack by 16%, which is a lot. When Fracture is applied for an ability of a assigned combatant, 10% critical chance, cannot stack. When Fracture is activated, you apply a toxin, and the toxin increases the damage that your combatant deals. So this last 4 line is specific for Arabella, because at the moment she's the only one who can trigger her own Fracture. But when Fracture is applied for an ability of assigned combat plus 10 critical chance, this is actually something that everyone can benefit from, because her ego skill, when attacked by a card of assigned combatant, 1 fracture. So she allows the combatant to which she is assigned to apply fracture, which means that the assigned combatant will get 10% critical chance. So at the end of the day, it's 10% critical chance, 16% attack. Absolutely phenomenal. And Erigo skill only costs 3 and gives 1 action point, which sometimes can make your turn much easier. My guess is that they playtested Arabella quite a bit. They noticed how difficult it is to play her if you do not get action point discount on her main attack cards, so they give you an extra action point to make your turns a little bit smoother. The way I'm playing her right now is this. This run triggered me, because it took me quite a bit to get this save file, and the cards for the most part are perfect, although there is one that has 2 options. The problem is that the game refused to give me good gear. I met Cthulhu, I didn't get the Cthulhu weapon. Oh, I got the second best option. During the whole run, I never got the chest piece that when we get attacked, we inflict a negative effect. I got the second best option. Okay. I never got offered the piece of equipment that increases crit rate based on the amount of enemies. I got the second best option. So, the gear, a lot of cope. But the card, I got a hollow verdict with reduced card cost almost instantly, so that was the run. Everything else is set up in a way that I like. I got card draw on Sadistic Restraint. As I said earlier, Scream for me, it has 2 epiphanies that are viable. This one is for extra damage, this one is for card draw. They're both fine, and at the end of the day they are just one currency away, one sorted currency away, so it's not a big deal. The important part is to have the 4 hollow verdicts at 0 cost, and I have 3 copies of the version that applies her own fracture, triggers her own fracture, and 1 copy of a unique that triggers everyone's fracture because I play her with Hilda. I'm pretty happy about this save file. I'm sure... this is the card that you want on Arabella, the desire card, because she doesn't have access to the survival card that reduces fortitude. This is the best thing she can get. And I went for 1 claim to control because I think it's possible that you want 5 claim something else, or that you want 7 claim, or that you want a bunch of control. Just different bonuses based on the rest of your build. This gives me flexibility. Like, it doesn't matter if I want to go 7 of one or the other, 5 of one or the other. This kind of combination still makes both build possible. I play here with Hilde. This is the build that I want to use, but I need, of course, to change a base epiphany here. Here I want the arrow version that applies fracture on hit, not this, general use epiphany. Everything else is pretty much the way that I want, meaning ionization and card draw at 0 cost. Draw 2 and the next 3 attacks are going to apply fracture to all enemies. This one, I like the version that costs 0 and draws 2 at the very beginning of the fight. And I would have preferred here the survival card. I wasn't offered it for the whole run. It is what it is. It's a support build for Hilde, because at the end of the day Arabella is going to be the one dealing the most damage, so I'm not too concerned about min-maxing it, especially in terms of gear. I just need to get enough currency from the shop to change this base epiphany, and then this build is pretty much done. And, well, of course, memory fragments. She has her own fragment set, so you know what to farm for her. Ego manifestations. Now, you may be seeing a lot of ego manifestations here, but I have played for the first day at Manifestigo 0, then Manifestigo 2, and then I went all the way to Manifestigo 6. 3 to 6 are just the damage increases. Mechanically, they don't change anything for Arabella, so they're not that important. Manifestigo 2 is the big one. The reason for that is that, let me cut that here, at the start of battle inflict 1 fracture amplification on the enemy with the highest health. When Arabella activates fractures that she inflicted through an ability, she inflicts 3 fracture on all enemies, 4 times per turn. So you have fracture amplification available immediately, right off the bat, and you also get extra fractures during the course of a fight. This Manifestigo is absolutely bonkers, so If you don't really care about Arabella that much and you just want to get her for collection purposes, you can stay at Manifestigo Zero. She's going to be fine and she's going to carry you through the whole season, because at the end of the day, this season shields for her very, very hard. So having her even just at base Manifestigo is going to be fine. If you like Arabella, I would highly, highly suggest you to get Manifestigo 2, because it's such a convenience that it bothers me. It's so good that it bothers me, because it's a huge quality of life improvement on her game mechanics that it's annoying that it's locked behind a Manifestigo. But it is what it is, you know, it's a gacha game and most of them are like that eventually. Personally, I would go with Arabella plus her partner. Then, if you have resources, you like her playstyle, Manifestigo 2. I would not go Arabella with a coop partner, Manifestigo 2. No. You get Arabella, you get her signature partner. Then, if you have resources, you can get her from the shop, whatever, you get Manifestigo 2. But just don't go anything further than that. It's just the damage increases. Like, once you get Manifestigo 2, you can start to read them. It's like, oh, I do more damage. Oh, I do more damage. Increases the level. Oh, I do more damage. They're all good damage increases, but they don't change anything mechanically. So I did it because I like to have Manifestigo 6 of the seasonal combatants, and I uploaded a video where I showed my pools. My pools were abysmal, but I had the currency for the shop that I've saved for a long time. I had the items that allow you to activate a Manifestigo, so I went to 6. If I was to do it just for performance, not for collection, I would have stopped at 2. Easily. And how good she is, I don't know. As I said earlier, she's a Yuki Hypermax. She doesn't feel like a must pull at all. She just feels like a good seasonal combatant that is extremely strong at what she does. But she doesn't feel like an account changer like Hidemari was when she was released. And please don't cope with Olga. Oh my god. I should have pointed this out earlier in the video. But it's a very important point to make. I've seen many people saying, don't worry guys, Arabella is not super strong now, but when Olga is released, everything is going to change. Just trust me, brother. Olga is going to make Arabella meta. Don't do that cope. Pull or skip Arabella based on what she is right now. Do not hope that a future combatant will make her Omega busted. I can give you several examples from the gacha games that I played in the last decade, more or less. The most recent one was Sunday in Honkai Star Rail. Sunday had an ability that works specifically for combatants, for characters that summon something. When he was released, I was really looking forward for Castorize, a character that was going to be released 4 to 6 months later that had a summon. And so I was like, there we go. I'm going to get a Sunday. No one knows about Castorize mechanics because it was a secret illegal leak at that time. And when she is released, I will have my Sunday ready to go, and they will be Omega busted together. I got Sunday at Eidolon 2, so Manifestigo 2 in Chaos Zero Nightmare terms. When Castorize was released, the two didn't work together at all. They did not fit in the same team together at all, in no way, like it was a nerf. So I had this character that I have pulled expecting, yeah, he will be good when she's released. And it was dog shit in her team, dog shit in all my other teams, because the characters for which he's designed, I do not have them. And only now he's slightly cope in a very off-meta team, a year and a half after I got him. It felt really bad to me. So do not pull Arabella because some moron on the internet is telling you, oh, she's going to be busted when Olga is released. Don't. That moron could be right. It could be possible. But morons, more often than not, are wrong. We do not know anything about Olga apart from what the devs said. The devs said that she's going to amplify Fracture, and in the when we did the presentation, there was a line of text that talked about restoration, which makes me think some kind of support ability, but they did not say anything about Olga. There are no leaks about Olga, so it's not like I'm winking at you saying, "Oh no, we don't know what she is." Wink, wink, wink. No, we really have no idea what Olga is going to do. So please do not waste resources on Arabella just because you have heard she will be busted with Olga. She might be, but pull or skip her based on what you see in the game right now. For me, she's fine. I agree with the fact that she doesn't feel as busted as Hidemari, and in sortie mode I would still pick Tenebria over, you probably can tell by level 62. Like, if the purpose is to do a run just to farm sortie material, I'm picking Tenebria. Right now, I'm using Arabella for my sortie farming because I want to get to level 62 with her. It's going to take a bit. But a start of a run with Arabella is way worse than Tenebria. Tenebria, you go to the shop or to the rest area, you trigger music start epiphanies until you hit Arpeggio. When you hit Arpeggio, the run is done. Like, you won the run. It's finished. It doesn't matter whatever else you get. You just pick up spotlights around the way. Your other two combatants don't matter. You won the run, even at max stacks, max difficulty. With Arabella, you still need to make decisions along the way. Like, oh, I need to look for an observer pleasure. Oh, I need to pick up hollow verdicts. Oh, I want to try to make hollow verdicts cost 0. Oh, I got offered this one. It's good, let's get it. But it clogs the deck. All issues that you not have with the Tenebria in sortie mode. So overall, for me, Arabella gets a thumbs up, mainly because she plays a lot like Yuki, and in case you're not familiar with me, Yuki is one of my favorite combatants. Like, this Manifestigo 6 Yuki did not happen over time losing 50-50s. The day Yuki was released, I got her a Manifestigo 0. Then I got her Manifestigo 1, because the nerf to Iceberg Cleave bothered me a lot. Eventually, during the course of the patch, I realized that I was enjoying her playstyle a lot, and I got her to Manifestigo 6. Arabella, again, Yuki Hypermax. I like her playstyle a lot. I like to see whole screens blow up, not, one thing at a time. And it's definitely not for everyone. If you are a spreadsheet impact enjoyer, I don't know what she does because I don't do spreadsheets. I do them at work all day, all my life. I refuse to do it for gacha games. In gacha games, I want to have waifus making stuff explode. So if a spreadsheet says she's not as good as X, I don't care. Anyway, enjoy your Arabella or enjoy your savings for the next seasonal combatant, who should be the 1-year anniversary combatant. Should be pretty busted, but we shall see. Bye guys, take care.